You're listening to the AstroMommy Daily Horoscope, a forecast that hopes to shine a light in the dark, helping us all see where we've been, where we are, and where we're going. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time subscriber, thanks for being here. I truly appreciate you being in the AstroMommy community. Without further ado, here is the Daily Horoscope. Annular solar eclipse in Libra, deep dive. Weekend horoscope for Saturday and Sunday, October 14th through the 15th, 2023, part 1. Good morning, friends. Okay, let's get into the astrology. Today we are going to go deep into this eclipse for the weekend forecast and talk about eclipse basics and the overall themes of this eclipse, plus go over the corresponding tarot card. I am putting together sun rising sign horoscopes along with the tarot card for all 12 signs, which I hope to have out by the end of the day as well. If you would like to find out how to view the eclipse online, you can click here to go to timeanddate.com's live stream page, where they will be broadcasting this weekend's annular solar eclipse. Eclipse basics. First, let's discuss some basic eclipse theory so we are all on the same page as we go over what themes are coming up. There are 4 types of eclipses: total, where the sun is blocked by the moon completely; partial, where the moon takes a bite out of the sun; annular, where the moon covers the center of the sun but not totally, so there is a ring, the ring of fire, around the moon; and hybrid. This is a combination of an annular and a total. Which eclipse type you will see depends on the location from which you are viewing that eclipse. This eclipse is an annular eclipse with the path of totality passing over the United States of America. You can see images of this path if you click here. You can find out everything you need to know about the astronomy of this eclipse on the website space.com by using this link here. Second, a solar eclipse is a supercharged new moon when the sun and the moon conjoin in the sky at the same or almost the same location from our point of view. This results in the moon moving across the face of the sun, blocking out the light of the sun as she passes. The moon then is in between the sun and the earth, as you can see in the picture below of this eclipse using the astronomy program Solar System Scope. Saros series basics. Third, eclipses are not all the same. Each eclipse is part of a family of eclipses called a Saros series, of which there are 19 north and 19 south cycles. You can learn more about Saros series by clicking here, but basically all you need to know for the purpose of this post is that not all eclipses carry the same energy because they are different families. Each eclipse family, Saros series, has a beginning, middle, and end to its cycle, and therefore each Saros series has a birth chart, symbolizing when the series had its first partial eclipse and was born. The Saros series that this annular solar eclipse is in is called Saros Series 7 South, and began on June 22nd, 1248 CE. Using the astrology program Solar Fire, I was able to cast a chart for Saros Series 7 South, which you can see below. You can look at the birth chart of any Saros series and glean information as to the nature of that particular series, just like how you can look at a person's birth chart and acquire information about that person's personality and characteristics, as well as events that will take place during that native's life. You can see in this chart from the year 1248 CE that the partial solar eclipse, the new moon, was in Cancer, separating from a trine to Saturn in Scorpio and applying to trine Pluto in Scorpio. Mars in Leo was also separating from a partile square to Pluto. According to astrologer Bernadette Brady in her book Predictive Astrology, The Eagle and the Lark, quote, "The immense power, anger, and force of the Mars square Pluto is channeled into this family of eclipses via the trine. The individual experiencing this series will find that huge obstacles will suddenly and easily clear, or on the negative side, a pending potential crisis will suddenly manifest and move through his or her life very rapidly. Either way, the individual will feel that everything is moving at great speed," unquote. So Saros Series 7 South symbolizes a new beginning in the areas of home, family, mothering, safety, and security that has the energy of great speed, immense power, and force that either heralds a crisis or a rapid release. The last time we encountered this Saros series with a solar eclipse in Libra was October 3rd, 2005. It may be helpful to look back in time to what was taking place in your life during the 6 months after that date for clues. By knowing this information about the specific Saros series that we are dealing with, we can delineate a bit more about this upcoming eclipse and say that it may have a lot more to do with a rapid new beginning in regard to a family crisis starting or being resolved than we can just by looking at where the eclipse is occurring in your natal chart. This gives us a much deeper layer to explore. Annular solar eclipse in Libra. Okay, now that we've gone over some of the basics, let's get into this particular solar eclipse. First, let's take a look at the chart for the annular solar eclipse at 21 degrees Libra, 7 minutes, happening at 10:55 a.m. Pacific time on the West Coast or 1:55 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast on Saturday, October 14th, 2023. First, this eclipse is happening in the sign of Libra and the 10th house of the chart associated with career, public recognition, and the mother. Libra is a cardinal air sign, meaning that it has the energy of initiation and change, as well as communication, sociability, and partnerships of all kinds. Whatever house Libra rules in your natal chart will indicate the topics that will be emphasized in your personal life. We will discuss these in more detail in the Horoscopes for all 12 signs post that's coming out later today. The dispositor, or the host of Libra, is Venus, the planet of love, beauty, relationships, and what we value. Venus is currently in her fall in Virgo, having just opposed Saturn earlier in the week on Tuesday, which you may have experienced as a very harsh reality check or at least feelings of disappointment about something Venusian. She is also in an aversion to this eclipse, meaning that she is unable to see the sun and the moon as they conjoin. This means that she can offer very little beneficial support to the sun and the moon. She is located in the upper right of the chart in the 9th house of religion and beliefs, foreigners, foreign travel, and higher education. Mercury in Libra is only 4 degrees away from the eclipse in the 10th house as well, and is in a partile applying opposition to Chiron, a celestial body that can represent where we feel vulnerable and or wounded, who is located in the 4th house of the home and family unit. Remember that Saros Series 7 South emphasizes a new beginning surrounding the family and the home. Mercury symbolizes our mental processes, communications, and our intellect, and in mundane astrology, he represents the news, media, transportation, and communication. He is very visible in the 10th house and can herald an announcement of some sort. This eclipse is very close to the south node, being only 3 degrees and 45 minutes away, indicating an approaching decrease, drain, or sinking feeling, as well as things coming up or people coming back from our past. The sun itself is in his fall in Libra, and the moon, at this degree, lacks any dignity at all and is said to be peregrine. The moon is also traveling through the Via Combusta, a very troubling place for the moon from 15 degrees Libra to 15 degrees Scorpio. The sun represents our story and our plotline, and the moon indicates our emotions, feelings, and habits. Mars has just left Libra and is now in Scorpio, his domicile, about to conjoin the MC of the chart, the midheaven, in the 11th house of friends, allies, and groups. So there's an underlying feeling like we've fallen from a certain stature, with both Venus, the dispositor of the eclipse, and the sun being both in their fall positions. There will be an announcement of a crisis moment concerning something that we feel very vulnerable or wounded about, as is symbolized by Mercury's opposition to Chiron that may involve family, ancestry, or a sense of safety and security. Chiron is a big player in this eclipse and is very close to the North Node, amplifying our feelings of individual sensitivity. Chiron's opposition to the eclipse symbolizes feeling at odds with the direction, mission, and plotline of this new beginning. And whatever it is, it will question and test our values, relationships, and financial vulnerabilities, as well as how we mentally process all of the new information that comes in during this eclipse season. During this eclipse season, people may be feeling lost, in a state of confusion and disarray, and want to create harmony, peace, and balance right now. But it may be hard to see how to do that. And because of this state of confusion, people may turn to their faith or belief structures for guidance and reassurance at this time, as is represented by Venus being in the 9th house of religion and foreign relations of this eclipse chart. The path of totality through the United States. Let's look at this eclipse again from a mundane perspective for the United States, because the path of totality will be focusing the energy of this eclipse on this country. Using whole sign houses, I cast this chart for Washington, D.C., the country's capital. You can see the eclipse happening in Libra and the 10th house of the leader, the president, or public officials of the country. The ascendant of this eclipse chart falls in the sign of Capricorn, with Pluto co-present in the 1st house. Both the ascendant and Pluto fall within the 2nd house of possessions and finances of the United States Declaration of Independence chart, which puts this annular solar eclipse in the USA's 11th house of the masses, groups, and rebellions. The 11th house in mundane astrology can also indicate mob psychology as well as hopes and wishes. Mars has just left Libra and is now in Scorpio, his domicile, about to conjoin the midheaven MC of the chart in the 11th house of groups and the masses, possibly symbolizing aggression and conflict within that sector. This chart indicates a supercharged new beginning within the masses being catalyzed by this eclipse in the USA for the next 6 months that may very well bring in transformations and irrevocable changes to the financial elements, structures, and resources of the country. The week after the eclipse. The days after the eclipse have some interesting stories to tell as well. First, we have a series of odd quincunxes, followed by the Sun and Mercury forming a cazimi, while in square to Pluto, conjoined with the Moon at her first quarter phase, and then making trines to Saturn as the Moon meets up with Saturn as well, all within the first 10 days. Then the lunar eclipse occurs on October 28, 2023, with 2 oppositions between Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter. We will talk about these transits and the lunar eclipse in more detail in future posts. So this is a very dynamic set of events unfolding after the solar eclipse. The correlating tarot card to 21 degrees Libra is 4 of Swords. The tarot card associated with the last 10 degrees of Libra is the 4 of Swords, and it's a card that has to do with vigilance, retreat, solitude, exile, and tomb. On the card below from the traditional Rider-Waite deck, you can see the stone sculpture of the effigy of a knight with his hands in prayer and his final resting place, his coffin. Above him are 3 swords hanging on the wall next to a stained glass window, and below him is a single sword laying horizontally on the side of the coffin. The 4 of Swords is about inaction, taking a rest, or being in solitude. There may have been harsh words and painful experiences in the past, and therefore one may feel regret. The card before this is the 3 of Swords, which represents heartache and pain, and the card after the 4 of Swords is the 5 of Swords, which represents conflict, fighting, and instability. So the 4 of Swords is this in-between space where one may find themselves acting like a hermit and seeking alone time to process the situation, experiences, and feelings. In times of battle, I would imagine if you lost a fellow warrior, having a moment to mourn your dead would be ideal before getting back out there to resume fighting. I feel like this card is like that, a moment of silence, a pause in the fight, an intermission in the movie of life where we get to mourn, retreat, and do nothing, and that is the point. It's a time of rest, recuperation, inaction, and solitude. The last 10 degrees of Libra also correlate to Jupiter in Libra, which symbolizes having a very noble, objective point of view, possibly following the letter of the law or the highest decree of the land. Jupiter in Libra also represents a very loving, objective, and caring person who has many charismatic and charming personality traits, and it embodies the energy of justice, fairness, and kindness, of music touching the masses, a romantic union, or a beneficial partnership. Furthermore, the 22nd degree of Libra is in the bounds of Venus and the decan of Jupiter, indicating that we are not alone in how we feel, and many other people may be feeling the same way. This is actually a positive and supportive component to this eclipse and means that even if things feel weird and oddly strange, there is some sort of healing or benefit with others in a group setting in the end. To summarize, first, we have this eclipse representing a very supercharged new seed or new beginning that is challenging our vulnerabilities, values, relationships, and possibly financial sovereignty. We may feel swept up in emotions or events that feel fated or karmic, odd, and disruptive, and we're possibly triggered by a news report, message coming in, or complete 180 in how we were thinking about something, inspiring us to lean on our faith and spirituality for guidance. People could also be feeling a lot of self-doubt, criticism, and lack of confidence as well. And then there is this sequence of quincunxes in the following days that indicate that something feels very weird, odd, and uncomfortable, like we have to adjust to some sort of new direction, path forward, or ambition, and it wasn't part of our original plan. Because of this new start may feel very strange and surreal, or like we can't believe what's happening. Even trying to piece together what this eclipse means has been a bit foggy and feels somewhat undetermined, and maybe that is because of the quincunxes to Uranus, which heralds surprise, interruptions, disruptions, and upheavals, and then the quincunx to Neptune, which is already making a quincunx to the South Node throughout all of this, creating this sort of nebulous fog and anxiety, like we aren't exactly sure what the ground is. Following these odd transits is a series of squares that indicate intense and epic shifts, with rapid trines between the malefics delivering powerful and fast blows to our foundations. The next 2 weeks are going to go by very quickly with a lot of things happening, which fits the nature of this Saros series. I hope you have enjoyed this deep dive into the annular solar eclipse in Libra. Please keep your eyes out for the horoscopes for each sign coming later today. I would love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment. I hope this is helpful. Until later, AstroMommy. Thank you for reading or listening to the Daily Horoscope. Quick links and resources can be found at the bottom of the newsletter. If you seek knowledge and enlightenment, the AstroMommy newsletter may be right for you. Side effects of reading or listening to the AstroMommy newsletter are common and include joy, jubilation, delight, happiness, gratitude, love, triumph, feeling in tune with the universe, experiencing deep insights, reflections, and contemplations, a lightened soul, a lighter step, feeling awake when others are asleep, illuminated, enlightened, having spiritual experiences, noticing repeating numbers, animals in nature, or songs on the radio that speak to you, getting vibes, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsmelliance, feeling like you know secret language, biophilia, crying tears of joy, emotional literacy, feeling lively, stable, exalted, having an auric glow, or feeling like you woke up on the right side of the bed have all been reported. If you purchase anything through the affiliate links that I provide in the newsletters, I will make a very small commission. Thanks for listening.